Hi, I'm going to forward Constitution of India lessons. Okay, now previous I have given parts of Constitution of India, that is 22 parts. Okay, now how to remember that easy code I have given that one. Okay, now right now I'm going to give some more pages regarding the Constitution of India. All right, I will going to share the screen, right? For the better view. See this one. This is this the green top and bottom. Okay, now margins. Right, and this to see this one. This is the Constitution of India. Right. So if you see these lectures are three written. There's the internal marks, there's external marks, total marks, and what is internal and the external marks. These are course objectives. Right. Understanding, appreciate the fundamental duties, rights. Here, explain the role and amendments of constitution and democracy. Right, describe the directive principles of state policy and the significance. There's the key features of constitution. Okay, and government and state government. Right, basically, and understand need for constitution. Appreciate the fundamental duties and rights of citizen of India. Right, explain the role and amendment of members of constitution in the democratic society. Amendments, role and amendments of Constitution in a democratic society. Democracy was promoted by the rule and to the people. They describe the directive principles of state policy and their significance. State policy and their significance. Describe the state directive principles of state policy and how the state will direct with some principles. Okay, and what is the significance? Okay, and the key features of constitution. Okay, now union government and state government. Okay. These are course objectives. Course outcomes is creating awareness about the constitutional values and objectives written in Indian constitution. Values is about the values, constitutional values and objectives. And this fundamental rights, okay, and fundamental duties of Indian citizens. Okay, identify the division of legislative, executive, and financial powers between the union and state governments. Division of legislative, executive, and financial, right? Powers. Second one is list of fundamental rights and fundamental duties of Indian citizens. Fundamental right to live. Okay, now right to speak. Okay, well, fundamental rights. Okay, now and understand the working of Indian democracy in its institution. Democracy, its institution and process at local, state, and union levels. Okay, understanding the Indian democracy and its institutions. Okay, and process at local, state, and union levels. Okay, right, and explain the functions and responsibility of Election Commission of India and Union Public Service Commission. Here, Public Service Commission means it will take this under this so many government jobs. It's like group one, group two, group three, group four, right? And election commissions. Okay, now elections are must in each and every country. Okay, now to change the government, to change the rule, and etc. Right? So like that, we require that. Right? Okay, now next is what if you see this first one, the history of making of Indian Constitution. All right. Okay. And features introduction. Okay. Next philosophy of Indian Constitution. Right. Preamble. Okay. Now contours, rights and duties, Constitution, fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion. Okay. Now culture and education rights, right to constitutional remedies. Okay. And directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties, amendment of constitutional powers and procedures. Okay, union government. Okay, now state government, okay. Election commission. Okay, now it's and the union government is nothing but union government is a legislator. That is nothing but parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Next one with powers and functions. And President of India with powers and functions. Prime Minister of India with powers and functions. Union Judiciary Supreme Court. Okay, the Supreme Court and the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Next, state government. State government, state legislature means legislative assembly, Vidhan Sabha. Legislative council, Vidhan Sabha. Okay, now Vidhan Parishad. Legislative assembly is Vidhan Sabha. Legislative council is Vidhan Parishad. Right, and powers and functions of state legislature. State legislature of legislative assembly and legislative council. Right, and the state executive owner of states. Okay, now with powers and functions, chief minister of the state of powers and functions, state judiciary, high court. State judiciary means high courts, right? High Court of Telangana, High Court of Karnataka, like the different high courts will be there. Next, election commission. When we say election commission, role and functioning. Chief election commissioner will be there and who are appointed for every elections, right? Right. For electing our leader. Okay, now who will rule us? Who will rule our lives? Okay, now, right, like Karta Karma Kriya, they will do like that, they will say. So, organization will do, okay. Next, institute and bodies of further welfare of ST, ST, OBC, and women. Institute and bodies for the welfare of SC, SC means scheduled caste, ST means scheduled tribe, OBC means other backward classes, and women. And institute and bodies for welfare of SC, ST, OBC, and women. That all we have discussed. Okay, now textbooks we will see here. Highly Indian Constitution. Okay, Virga Das Vastu. In Constitution Law. Apprentice. All of India. Okay, now next Nurani, AG. South Asia Human Rights Documentation Center. Challenges to civil rights. Challenges to civil rights. Guarantees in India. Right? Guarantees in India. Oxford University Press 2004 is released. Right? The Constitution of India, PM Bakshi, Universal Law Publishing and Constitution of India 1950 Act, Government Publication, right? Dr. S.M. Busi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Framing of Indian Constitution, First Edition, 2015. 2015. Reference books, the MP Jain, Indian Constitution Law, 7th Edition, Lexis, 2014. D.D. Basu, Introduction to the Constitution of India, Lexis, 2015. Indian Constitution at Work, NCERT. Subhash Kashyap, Indian Constitution National Book Trust. J. Sivach, Dynamics of Indian Government and Politics. Right? D.C. Gupta, Indian Government and Politics. These sources are something like NPTEL, National. Okay, now. This is the error point it is showing. It is actually, see this one. National Program, NPTEL. Okay, now. It enhanced learning, technology enhanced national program, technology and enhanced learning. Like that you can say. Okay, okay now NPTEL like IIT Bombay also have some lecture series, IIT Bombay. And this also having some different courses NPTEL. Okay now. Program for technology and enhanced learning. Finally, okay now Noorani. Okay now, right, Bakshi. Right, Barak, Busi, saying Basu, right, etc. So these are the Constitution of India. The first thing we come to know is the Constitution of India is written by the V.R. Ambedkar, right? He fought for the well-being of what to say, scheduled communities. Okay, now he was a scheduled caste, right? So like that you have to okay now remember, right? Philosophy of Indian Constitution. First, second chapter, history and history of making of Indian Constitution. Third is the Union government, fourth is the state government, next is the election commission. Right? And Union government will bang Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, okay, na parliament. Right? Union legislature means parliament. The powers and functions have to learn. Okay, President of India, powers and functions, Prime Minister of India, powers and function. Union judiciary. That is nothing but a Supreme Court and judicial of Supreme Court. The decision of the Supreme Court. So Union Judiciary is nothing but Supreme Court. So there will be jurisdiction of the Supreme Court means the judgment of the Supreme Court. How it will be judging the different cases. That is nothing but jurisdiction of Supreme Court. State government means what like Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, different states. State government State Assembly, Vidhan Sabha, State Council, Vidhan Parishad. Powers and functions of the state legislature. Okay, the state executive, governor of the state. That also we have to learn the owners, and functions we have to go through. Next, chief minister, state. Powers and functions, state judiciary, high court. So, philosopher of Indian Constitution, so preamble salient features, counter of constitutional rights and duties, fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation. We should not be exploited. In most cases, youth are getting exploited. So we have to be very careful. exploitation. That is, you have to write against exploitation. Right to freedom of religion. You never know how you are not exploited. After that, you will be know. So that should not be the case. Okay, right to freedom of religion. Freedom of religion. Right? You are Hindu means you should not for you should not be afraid to keep any bottu. To be wear any orange type of dress. Like that for Hanuman Bhakti. You should not be having any fear of freedom of religion, right? And culture and educational rights. Culture also, we have certain cultures. Okay, now we giving this, that white powder before the houses on your side. That is a culture. So you should not be afraid. You should have the freedom to do all those festivals, cultures, etc. Each country has different festivals. Each state has different festivals that should be done with freedom. That is about freedom of religion and the culture. Okay, now the religion and the culture. The religion inside it has certain culture and educational rights you should have. No one should stop in learning anything. Okay, now if we stop it, then it is they are stopping of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. So fundamental rights, educational rights also there. Learn up to education. If you are educated, if you have learned, then you will be very okay now having the particular features in your okay now. You don't not educated, it will become chaos. Okay now. So all are educating okay now supreme management should also be in a supreme management should to take control in your life. Right to constitution remedies. Okay, and relative arts, relative principles of state policy, relative principles of state policy, fundamental duties, amendment of constitutional powers and procedures, amendments of constitutional power and procedures. Directive principle means directions. So how the directions is given in terms of principles of the state policy, right? And fundamental duties will be there. Fundamental duties. In college, okay, in college also first fundamental duties of the student is first you have to go into the classroom and you have to listen to the lecture, what they are giving. Like that, and the second thing you have to give your attendance. So that's the fundamental duties. Like that, everyone will have a fundamental duties in Indian Constitution. Right? Amendment of constitutional powers and procedures. Amendment means acceptance of the constitutional powers, acceptance of the constitutional powers and procedures, acceptance of the constitutional powers and procedures. Next is the history. First one is history of making of a Indian Constitution. Right? Introduction to Constitution of India. That's the making of Constitution and features of the Constitution. Okay, now introduction to Constitution of India. The making of Constitution and salient features of the Constitutions. Right? Making and salient features. Okay, I should now go. I should know that particular things. Right? Okay, so these are the different 5 units. Okay, now, right? Of the particular uh, Constitution of India. Constitution of India. Right? Features and making first one with introduction. Right? So now I will go this particular session of the Constitution of India, syllabus. Right? I hope you understand. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment box. Right? So you have to know this particular things. Okay, now. Okay, and you have to be okay now aware of this particular. It's right against exploitation. Okay, right against right to educate, right to live, and freedom of religion, etc. Okay, now. Right, right to equality. Everyone should be treated equal. Right, these days they are not treating equal. Right. These are all things to learn, then it should be implemented. So these are the principles running in the constitution. So it should be aware and it should be accepting all these things in their life so that we have to check and verify whether these are all things are coming in your life or not, according to the Constitution of India, according to the principles running in our government of India. Okay, thank you.